Alright, welcome to a new episode. Today we're going to be looking at my personal top 5 Jedi. Coming in at number 5, we have Kanan Jarrus from Star Wars Rebels and the Bad Batch. I know he was only a Padawan when Order 66 was enacted and when the Republic fell, but I do believe that much of his Jedi training came in the form of real-world trials, because he was living as a wanted fugitive. His biggest trial came in the form of Ezra Bridger, who he was tasked with training. And because the Order had fallen, he had no order to turn to. He couldn't turn to any superiors or anything to help train Ezra. He really had to rely on himself and his knowledge of the Force and his powers to train Ezra, which he did. He could have quit at any time, but he stayed true and helped train Ezra. But I really think that his true power, his true Jediism came out after he was blinded by Darth Maul. Because he lost his sight, he could not physically see, so he had to turn to the Force in order to live, to survive. And while his physical sight was taken, his spiritual sight became stronger than ever. And that in turn helped him to train Ezra more and to assist Rebel Alliance more. And even after he sacrificed himself, his spirit lived on within the Loth Wolf Doom, so I really feel like Kanan's a really big contender for the top 5 in my personal opinion. Coming in at number 4, we have the classic Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was a Padawan, he was a master, and he was the keeper of the prophecy, I say. He was the watcher of Luke Skywalker. And from the beginning, he was always a very loyal, by-the-book Jedi, unlike his master Qui-Gon or his Padawan Anakin. He was the very essence of a, like I said, by-the-book, follow-the-order Jedi. We all know how Duel of the Fates ended up, and we all know that Anakin ended up being trained by Obi-Wan. And as Dave Filoni has stated, Obi-Wan originally trained Anakin out of a promise, but he came to love Anakin as a brother. And while we know what happened to Anakin, Obi-Wan fought him and was a broken man. Obi-Wan could have went off somewhere and died, but instead he decided to go to Tatooine to watch over Luke Skywalker and ensure that Luke was okay and that he would one day grow up to save the galaxy, which he did. Number 3 on my list is Ahsoka Tano. As everyone knows, she was Anakin's Padawan, and she was trained very much like... Hang on, let me regain my thoughts. She was trained by Anakin, and Anakin trained her much like he was. So she was very prone to doing things her way, going off the books, very out of the box. She went from a wisecracking young Padawan to a wise leader in a way. And she was also one of the few Jedi right before the fall of the Republic. She was one of the few Jedi to see how corrupted the Order had become, how political the Order had become. And as we know, she left the Order due to that. And after leaving the Order throughout those years, her allegiance to the Jedi really teetered. But in the end, she was always a Jedi. She was always one of the truest Jedi to live. And she always stayed true to the Force. She always trusted the Force. Whether or not she called herself a Jedi or said she was no Jedi, she always believed in the Force, thus always making her a true Jedi. Even when she was face to face with her ex-master, who had turned to the dark side, she was still true to the Force. Number 2 on my list is Luke Skywalker, the son of the Chosen One. Luke is not only a great Jedi, he's also a great film character in general. He's the classic zero to hero. He went from being a nobody farm boy to the savior of the galaxy. And an interesting thing that I always find interesting is Ahsoka broke one side of Anakin's mask. Obi-Wan broke the other. But it was Luke, Anakin's son, that was able to take the mask completely off. Luke lived 19 years, a normal life as a farm boy. He didn't have to take up the role of a Jedi. He didn't have to go blow up the Death Star. But he did, because he was true at heart. The Force knew that he was going to do this. The Force knew that Luke was going to become a Jedi, just like his father before him. The Force knew. The same with Leia. The Force knew. And that's why I think Luke is one of the best Jedi, and also is one of the best movie characters of all time. Before I get into the number one Jedi, I want to give out some honorable mentions. The first one being Yoda. Obviously, Yoda is one of the best Jedi, but he didn't make my top 5 list for one specific reason. He was obviously a very strong and very powerful and very wise Jedi. He was Grand Master after all, but the reason he didn't make my list is because he was blind to not only the corruption of the Jedi Order, but he was blind to the Sith menace, to Palpatine. And being as strong of a Jedi as he was, he should have seen that. He should have seen it coming from a mile away. Another honorable mention is, of course, Anakin. Anakin was the chosen one. He always was. Luke never was the chosen one. It was always Anakin. And Anakin was also the strongest Jedi to ever live. He had the most midichlorians. He was the most powerful Jedi. But he let that power get the better of him, and he fell to the dark side. But now, time to get into the number one Jedi of all time. And that number one Jedi is, of course, Coleman Trebor. I'm just kidding. The number one Jedi in my eyes has always been, well, and will always be, Qui-Gon Jinn. The Maverick. From the get-go in The Phantom Menace, we knew that Qui-Gon was in a league of his own. He was on a whole different level. He saw the flaws that had grown in the Order. He saw the corruption and the politics that was rotting the Jedi Order. He knew that the Jedi were supposed to love and supposed to care and was supposed to just look after the galaxy. But he was also aware of the chosen one, the prophecy. He could have left that young slave boy there to just live the life of a slave. But he took him in and informed him of this prophecy. And of course, we all know how that turned out. Anakin turned to the dark side and became the scourge of the galaxy, Darth Vader. But in the end, Anakin did fulfill the prophecy with the help of his son Luke. But all of that happened because of Qui-Gon Jinn. And again, Qui-Gon, he knew the true essence of the Jedi. Being a Jedi is not about being part of an organization or part of a club. Being a Jedi is knowing the Force and using the Force to do good. And that was Qui-Gon's entire essence, his entire being was about using the Force, mastering the Force, and using it to bring peace and safety and love and happiness and joy to the galaxy. And that is my top 5 list. I probably could have gave better examples as to why. I didn't really write a script for this video. Just kind of going off the top of the old noggin here. But that is my top 5 Jedi list. It was very difficult, very hard to come up with those top 5. I mean, you have other great Jedi like Mace Windu, Plo Koon, Ki-Adi-Mundi, but there's so many. I could probably make a top 100 Jedi list. But I think I did a good job of narrowing it down to my top 5 personal Jedi. And by personal, I mean the ones that I like, but also the ones that I think fit the mythos best, morality-wise and all of that. But anyways, I think that does it for my top 5 Jedi list. Thank you for watching. Take care. And as always, may the Force be with you.